All right. Okay, so back to my introduction. So Mr. Adeolu Adebambo is a data analyst and also a leader, who is vision-driven, community-inspired, and is passionate about everything he does. We can define him as a paradox of contrary equilibria, and his most distinguishing quality is analytical ideation. Speaking of ideation, he's someone that loves to bring great idea, the ideation stage to whatever stage you want it to come to. At least he will bring it to life and make something big out of it, and he's really big on that. So if you have a big idea and you really want to turn it into something that will start generating revenues for you, is into that winning ideas, multi-billion dollars ideas. So anything related to ideation, you will find him there. He's so passionate about it. So I'm saying all of this so you take note, and if at all you want to collaborate with him later, please take note. And then he has that rare ability to translate. Still speaking of ideation, he has the rare ability to translate creative thinking into solutions for pressing needs. His voracious zest for learning follows a deeper purpose. And what is that? He loves to build lasting legacies and creating solutions that outlive the moment. Yeah. So if you are looking for someone that can help you bring your idea to life into something bigger and better, please reach out to Mr. Adeolu. And then what started in his undergraduate days as a curious zeal to improve his community grew into something far greater, and that's laying the groundwork for an international collaboration between multiple research associations and being motivated by the small only brought his ideas and dreams to reality, reaching even further with each stride. And his most recent better reality is the data geeks community. Please, I want to see our emojis flying. I'm not seeing your emojis. I hope you're listening. You can hear me clearly. We are reading Mr. Adeolu Adebambo's bio, and just this one person has done all of this, and your emojis are not flying all over the place. He has a community. He's the founder of the Data Geeks community. You can check them up. And what the community does is to provide members who they are majorly data professionals of different levels, to provide them the opportunity to reach their zenith whilst prioritizing excellence. So when he's not formulating ideas, managing one, or studying, you see him, at the chessboard. He loves playing chess. And then above all, he's a lover of God. So welcome, join me to welcome Mr. Adeolu Adebambo. Kindly unmute, let's just hear your voice for a bit. Keep the emojis flying.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I guess I should turn on my camera.
Good afternoon.
You guys know how to make someone blush, like as well.
All right.
Good afternoon, everyone on this call. I can see a number of us.
Keep the emojis flying. Let him feel the energy. Yeah, please.
So it's good to know that you can hear me. I wouldn't have to ask if you can hear me at all.
Yes, we can hear you, but you can bring your voice up a little. Very much
that's appreciated. All right then. Is this audible enough? I trust everybody can hear me. So I'll be sharing my screen now. Let's just get to the, where I say cocoa of the cocoa like this.
Yeah, so you can just go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you. So can we see my screen? Okay, thank you. That's I do not want to share this. Give me a sec. Okay. So good evening everyone once again. Um where to begin? Obviously, the floor is mine already, and I have a limited amount of time to enlighten us on learning data visualization and storytelling techniques. Now, one common trope, or would I say what is common of most data professionals, is that it's probably the same across board for tech skills in general. I'm not sure. But what is most common is the learning of technical skills like, well, you name it, Power BI, Excel, Python, and the likes. Whilst they are very important, they do not assist the learner in truly understanding what data analysis or what being a data professional truly entails. It's quite disappointing though. You get to see people just pour their heart in because of passion and dedication, and they just can't pass their message simply because they do not know how to pass their message. So today I would be aiming to change your um, ability to influence your audience mind from looking at your storytelling and being like, what the hell am I listening to? Like, what is this problem that is coming to me? I don't even understand. You're even complicating the matter for me. The goal of this entire call is to change your, well, ability from, oh my God, what is this catastrophe, to excellent. I understand. Your audience becomes able to comprehend what you are passing and what you are saying. By the way, if you're expecting more stickers, you're not going to see any. So it is very common to find dashboards on LinkedIn. At least for me, a number of people I'll connect with are data analysts for some reason. And you'd see a number of dashboards. They usually fall into two different categories. The first is being aesthetically pleasant. You see them and you're like, wow, this person put a lot of time into it. This person should probably be a graphics designer because I do not understand what the person is trying to pass. Like, I do not understand the data the person is trying to pass. So what is the point of the dashboard? So it's, oh sorry, I'm not insulting graphics designer. I'm not. But the point is, you're not passing the message your data is supposed to pass. You're just creating something beautiful and you expect us to enjoy it. So the second category they fall into is the information jungle. All you get to see is a bunch of data visualizations that are just merged together and you do not really understand it. Yes, it is supposed to pass a message, but you are overwhelmed with what you are seeing that you do not understand it anymore. Now, the goal of this is not to insult us. As a matter of fact, during the course of the mini lab, I'll be working on a dashboard I created when I just started in 2024, and I will be walking us through on how to improve that same dashboard. So I'm just highlighting this for us to understand that we can learn and we can change how we look at dashboards and storytelling in general. It is visible here that, okay, what you are looking at here is a pathway ChatGPT created for me to provide me focus areas and skills needed to increase or rank up in my data career. And as you can see, communication or data storytelling is very important across board, and it becomes very essential the higher you go, since you will be working with aligning models with business objectives, shaping data strategies, and the likes. It becomes very essential to pass the right message and ensure that you are not misleading your audience. To transit from the catastrophe we normally do to an excellent work, we'll be looking at three different learning objectives. The first is to to learn the theoretical aspect of data visualization and storytelling, to increase our storytelling capabilities, and to reduce our data visualization mistakes and increase awareness about them. I'll be breaking the entire session into 5 different segments, and we've already covered the first. I'll be moving to data visualization, then we have storytelling, tips, and then the mini lab, after which we would have a question and answer session immediately after. So it will not be a question anymore to us as data analysts or as data professionals or as people looking to pivot into, well, the data field, about what data visualization is. But the question still stands: what is it and what are its uses? In simple terms, data visualizations are charts and graphs used as visual representation of rather distorted or um, uneasy to understand data, put in a visual way that serves as information, basically, as far as it is understandable. So some of the other uses is that it helps ease the absorption of data to generate meaningful conclusions. It is used for the purpose of communication, and it supports trust, or it increases trust and credibility. Now, there are various types of visualization. I mean, I had a tutor that created a visualization of his own on Tableau. That tells you that a lot of people create visualizations. So it goes beyond 100, as Nicolas Boucher categorized them here. But I tend to fall under the school of a minimalistic visualization style, which prioritize um, common visualization styles and the reduction of clutter to ensure the effective transfer of the information you're trying to pass. I may be speaking a lot of English, but I hope we understand what I am saying. We are rapping, like you are getting what I'm saying. All right, that is good to see. So there are many ways to visualize data. Some common examples includes bar charts, line charts, pie charts, scatter plots, and histograms. Out of the 5 mentioned here, there's one that, based on the person that I would say started the school of thought I enjoy, it is highly recommended that you do not use, and that is pie charts. But we'll be getting into further details about that. So Cole Netflix, the writer of the book Storytelling with Data, I created a brochure. I don't know if it has been made available to like follow through if you cannot see my slides clearly. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. So Cole Netflix, the writer of Storytelling with Data, and basically she's the inventor of the school of thoughts, the minimalistic school of thought. She identified 12 visualizations that if you use, they are quite common, and that is their strength. They are common, they are very common. So it is easy to understand by every Tom, Dick, and Harry. A Tom, Dick, and Harry would see words and would be able to absorb the information. But then if you were to present a butterfly chart to any Tom, Dick, and Harry, the person will have to think. The person will have to ask, what exactly am I looking at? But if the same information can be passed through text, or maybe a line chart or a vertical bar chart that we see very regularly, it becomes easier to understand. So the six charts that are circled are across the 12 are, I would say, the most commonly used that I would recommend. Simple text can do for highlighting for a whole lot of things, scatter plots, tables, lines, vertical bars, etc. One thing that is important to note is data visualization and storytelling are not separate terms. Data visualization is not on one end and storytelling on another. They are related terms such that storytelling is basically a tree and data visualization falls under a branch in that tree. This branch is visual storytelling, and what it does basically is provide you with physical information, or rather information you can see using your eyes that passes on a message. If you see the Statue of Liberty, you obviously know we are talking United States of America or New York. In a situation where you are in a car and you fall asleep, but then you open your eyes to a familiar environment and look out of the window, you ask yourself, where am I? The instant you look out and you realize it is a familiar environment, it becomes easy for you to say, oh, this is where I am. You can say, oh, this is the amount of time that has passed. A lot of information basically just flows into your head. That is what visual storytelling entails. It becomes easier for you to absorb data through that visualization, help you absorb the data a lot faster and you understand what you are seeing. So it's not about creating the visualization, it is about your audience understanding it. Now, we've brushed through data visualization, we're moving on to what storytelling is. Storytelling is as old as time. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness covered the face of the earth. And the Spirit of God moved across the face of the earth. Just me saying that, a picture has been painted in your head about what I am saying. And you're able to say, this is the situation that was. It might not be like a deep and insightful Zen state if, level you would achieve, but the point is you are able to picture something. So even in the beginning, storytelling tells us about what happens. The first historical record of what storytelling is are cave paintings from cavemen back before we became Homo sapiens or Homo erectus. I really do not agree with evolution. I do not know why I use this example. The point is, I'm just trying to pass the message. And cave art existed. You would see humans, you would see animals in painting because writing systems did not exist. Fast forward, the dissemination of information became possible and extendable as a result of writing that came from various parts of the world. Oral tradition. I grew up learning about Ijapa and Aja stories, basically from my mom and the likes. So those stories exist to help us learn something. That is what story does. It is telling us something we are meant to learn. Now we live in a digital age where content creators use hooks to keep us. I'm occasionally one of those us, by the way, doom scrolling for hours. Doing what? Some of us, some people like me on Instagram, oh, we're listening, our FYP is filled with motivational stuff. They are using hooks to keep you hooked. I mean, like, it is just storytelling, and you are getting absorbed in it because it is very effective. They are getting their views. You are just getting serotonin. You're just happy. It is well. So what exactly is storytelling? To simply put it, it is the use of narrative to share experience, convey meaning, um, to from the teller to the audience using a message. I'll repeat that. It is the use of narratives to share experience, convey meaning from a teller to his audience using a message. Now, there are three core elements of storytelling, and the first is the teller. In this current situation we are in, that is me. You are listening to me. Yes. In a different situation where you have to present something to someone, either through email or through a live presentation or any means possible, you become the teller. You do not necessarily have to speak. You can pass the message through, like I said, an email, a WhatsApp chat. It just depends on the message and the means, basically. So the second element is the audience, the person you are passing the message to. So for a data analyst, there's something that is very important to note. A lot of people can use one data set. Take, for example, you work at a, let's just say, tech firm that owns, or no, you work at a e-commerce firm that you're the data analyst here. So you gather the data from the website, identifying customer behavior, product type, region, blah blah blah. What are the people that can use that data? A lot. The data team can use it, the marketing team can use it, the executive can need it, a lot of teams can need it, the finance team can also need it. But then the way you would tell it to an executive is not the same way you tell it to the developer of the website. They all have different levels of understanding about different levels of jargons that you would need to structure in the best way possible, suited to their understanding. So as a result, you need to think about your audience. It is very important. So the data exists to be used by multiple sources. It is then you determining which source needs it and structuring your message in a way that that source can use it very effectively. The third is the message you are trying to pass. I'm not going to stay any longer on that. So I hope it is clear. Like I mentioned, there are 4 branches of storytelling. Whilst I numbered them 1 to 4: visual, audio, perception, and imagination. One thing to note is that imagination, I would say, is the most important because it is the one in control by the audience. You have the ability to influence it, but if you lack the ability to, your audience can have a poor notion about what you are trying to pass. So imagination is like the trunk of the tree that connects the entire tree to the branches. So every single information you're passing, whether through audio, visual, whatever medium, it goes into your audience's brain, and your audience pictures it the way they want to picture it. So Imagination is very important as a branch, and you need to understand how to influence it. The visual branch involves basically the medium of using pictorial cues, what the eyes perceive basically. Audio audio is audio. Like come on, let's bring down again, shy. So the number three is perception, and I believe this is the one I have to explain the most. Perception is commonly known as narrative framing. And what this basically entails is how you decide to, or rather, what you intend for your audience to understand. A good example I'll use that is common to all of us, I hope, except your, I don't want to talk about some people's child, but we should all have heard it when we were children. The story of the tortoise and the hare. It is quite impossible in reality to have a tortoise win a race, but it happened in Aesop's fables. And as it happened, a storyteller in this case can decide to say the tortoise won because he was determined. Another storyteller can say the tortoise won because he knew. People that think too much, they would say, oh, he had already calculated it. He knew that the hare can be very lazy, it can be very lackadaisical, and he loves taking naps. So he knew that the hare would sleep. So he had calculated it. He had calculated the time of the day, and he determined it. So it's a matter of being smart. It's not just a matter of being determined. It's a matter of being smart. Another person would say the hare lost because he did not finish what he started. So from one story, aside from the many people that can use it, there are many views and perspectives from which you can look at it. So utilizing this, you can influence your audience's imagination to the very optimal best. What exactly then is data storytelling? It is basically a combination of the terms we've spoken about all this while: storytelling or narrative, visualizations, where the case may be, and data, because obviously you are using data. So obviously, how do we storytell? Now, I've stressed on the importance of understanding who your audience is and structuring your storytelling to fit your audience. This is very crucial. Like, it's the number one thing you need to do. Know your audience and what is required of you, the objective they are giving you, the way they are supposed to receive the message, their level of understanding about the particular terms, etc., etc. The second thing you can do, or the second necessary thing, is to understand the data by analyzing it. This is that simple. The thing every one of us do. I mean, technically, most people just skip step one, and without step one, step three is not possible. So what most people tend to do is just do step two. How is that? How does that work? How does that work? So combining step one and step two provides you with effective storytelling, and it becomes, as splendid as mine. Maybe better because I'm still learning it. So with that, we've concluded with what storytelling entails, and we'll be moving on to the tips. Some of these tips are already quite important. If there's any Igbo person here, I hopefully use that Odikwa in the right place. I've tagged them and they are very easy to identify. So I divided the tips into two different aspects, and the first are the visualization tips. Under the visualization tips, the first category of tips that I would say is to reduce clutter. Like I said, I fall under the minimalistic school. because it is best. You prioritize your data over design. That way, you ensure that your audience gets what they truly need. And some of the best ways to do this is first, the Gestalt's principle of visual perception. In a way, this entire principle can take up 1 hour of our time. So I cannot really explain it, and I would recommend that you research on it a whole lot more. What this basically entails is that there are certain ways to strategically tell your audience that this is how things are meant to be. Principles like continuity, enclosure, um, combination. I don't forget the subtopics, but the point is, they are there to strategically help us improve our data storytelling. Another one that is most important is the data to ink ratio. If you are creating a visualization and you are adding grid line, you are putting titles, you are putting legends, you have put the series title and then series values, you are still adding data labels, you are putting so many colors. What you are doing by doing that is um you are telling your audience to look for the information themselves. But then the most strategic thing to do in data storytelling as a whole is to tell your audience where to look. Trust me, our brains can be very lazy. If you've looked at something for so long and you're expecting to see, you're expecting to understand it in 2 seconds, you'll give up on it subconsciously without you even realizing it. So removing those visual clutter and prioritizing what needs to be seen, reducing what does not need to be, helps pass your message extremely perfectly. The third thing here is to avoid 3D imaging. Excel, let's not talk about 3D. Okay, we're supposed to talk about 3D, but why will you create a box when you can just use a square to pass your message? I am looking at 3D, I'm mesmerized when I'm supposed to be looking for the information I need from my data. So how does that work? Just avoid it. It's pointless. I mean, for my visualizations, I use a shadow effect to accentuate it and provide aesthetics. But then using it inside the charts, I do not recommend it. Trust me, I do not recommend it. The fourth thing here is to use color strategically. So there are two major ways to highlight what is important in your data, or rather in your visualizations. The first is color. The second is text. You can see all the core important because I hope I'm getting the accent if there's any Igbo person here. All the core important. It is visible because it is in a different part of my slide, and it is bolded and the font is larger, so you can see it very clearly. I'm using text to direct your attention there to see that, oh, you need to know that asterisk equals all the equal important, all the core important. And then anywhere you look and you see an asterisk, oh, this is very important. Is that simple? So aside, I mentioned that text can help you pass your message. Colors too. If all of your data bars are blue, and you are telling me that you want to identify the top influence on sales, and I'm seeing 10 different bar charts and all of them are blue, I would be like, oh, all 10 of them are like have a high influence on it. However, on that same chart, if you make 7 of those different bars gray to just blow it out and make just 3 blue, it highlights them and tells, oh, these 3 are the most important and major uh, affectors. Is that a word? Basically, major influence on sales. You can then add text that this affects by X percentage in a very suitable place that it just works. Nobody say go. I should stop speaking pidgin. Anyways, you can focus attention using color and text, like I mentioned. And for the school of thought I work in, prioritize data over aesthetics. There are two types of dashboards: static and temporal. And let me mention something I had an interaction with members of my community yesterday about. Dashboards are not the end of your analysis. They are the means to an end. In certain situations, a dashboard is not the best way to pass the message. So a dashboard should not even be in that situation. You want to speak with an executive level member of your company, and someone that doesn't have time, you want to start explaining a dashboard to him for over 15 to 20 minutes. This person will appreciate a different style of this person would appreciate a different style of storytelling rather than dashboards. So it is very important to identify what type of storytelling medium you would be using at what particular point in time. It is okay to have just four charts on your dashboard. Oh, static and temporal basically means static is showing a point in time. Temporal, maybe it is connected to a website, and then it just keeps getting the data from there. A dashboard does not necessarily have to be too complex. It can be very simple and it passes its message. There are people with color blindness, so you should get to understand that and consider it when using colors in your data visualization. Don't forget aesthetics. Prioritize your data, but don't forget the aesthetics. I cannot stress on that enough. Depth to pie charts. Like depth to pie charts. It sounds fun to me. You probably do not understand it if you've not come across it before, but I'll be taking us on it in the mini lab. Now, for the storytelling tips, practice and understand. For this 1 hour teaching I'm doing, basically, I've practiced this thing personally at least 3 times, and I scheduled about 3 to like 4 different calls to interact with other people to practice it just for a 1 hour call. So I spent, give or take, 7 hours practicing a slide I created for more than, let's not talk about the slide creation time, but just practicing what I'm saying. I did that for a lot of time. So I'm running out of time, and the mini lab will take so much time. So the next is kill it by emanating confidence. Confidence cannot be overrated or underestimated. English. The point is, there's this book I read, Psychology of Persuasion, and it says, oh, let's never talk about psychology of persuasion. There's this story I learned of a man in India that claimed to be a top secret agent in the government. So he employed about 21 people to go and to go to a jewelry store to assess and evaluate their company. Basically, they were dressed properly, they had the right badges, they got into the jewelry store, packed basically all the jewelry, saying they want to evaluate it based on an order from the government. This man employed 21 people to do the work for him. They gathered all the jewelry, and he alone ran away with the jewelry because the 21 people, I may be mixing up the number, believed he was a government agent thanks to the way he carried himself, the way he was dressed. They didn't get a cut of it, by the way. Only God knows if they're in prison. I do not know if it's. I just heard the story, and it works very fine here. So I'm not telling you to go and scam someone by dressing up or being very confident. I'm saying your confidence can determine how people would take the message you're passing. If you are very confident in what you're doing, it becomes easy to give the best. I mean, imposter syndrome, they kill me. But then, thanks to my practicing, I can come here and, well, just smile, be amazing and what's not. But let's not talk about that. Dress the part. It's still similar to kill it by emanating confidence. It's not necessarily about the clothes you wear. It's about the smile you wear, the um, eye to eye contact, the body language. Basically, that is what it entails. So for beginners, I would recommend you use frameworks. There's this framework, the SCR framework, and it's basically says you state the situation, you provide the conflict, the issue you are trying to resolve, and you provide the resolution. For a data analyst, that works so well. And trust me, even in expert levels, they still use frameworks. So there's another framework I learned from when I was learning somewhere in Lagos. Here, let's just forget about the details. The point is the FIRE framework, the FFIRE framework. The first is to state your facts. What is the data saying exactly? Your findings, the details in the data, the insights you are getting from it. Then you create your recommendation, and it ends with your expected outcome. Facts, findings, insights, recommendations, and expected outcome. I do not use it anymore because, well, storytelling makes everything more fun. But having frameworks reduces the decision making. You can just be like, okay, what's the facts? What are the findings, insights, recommendations, and expected outcome? And you have what you need and you can proceed with that. Okay, so I've explained this. Now to the mini lab. How many more minutes do I have? I was like, how many minutes do I have? Whoa, 8 minutes. Okay, so the mini lab. If you cry after seeing this visualization or this dashboard, I will understand because it was very bad. Back then I was very proud of it. I was very proud of it. But now I just look at it and I'm like, it is well with my soul. It is well. So I'll be taking us on how I gradually improved each and every chart. How I improved each and every chart, basically. So the first thing to highlight here is the title. Initially, my title just says 2022 sales and expense. But then the question is, which one is sales, which one is expense? You cannot tell. Did I put, I did, oh, I did never put a legend. But then the point is, it becomes easier to tell if you see red, it identifies the highest revenue source and expense. Basically, once you see highest revenue, you know, okay, this is just a portion of what is in the actual data. It is not everything. But then this is not clear. There were other details in the data, and it is just bad. Let's not talk about this charts at all. So another thing I did was change the chart type. Usually an horizontal bar chart is preferable if the names are long, since you would need to see everything. Take for example this access. Without knowing what is exactly there, your audience will ask, okay, what is access? Is it Access Bank you're talking about? Did we save money in Access Bank? But then if you create it in this way, they can tell, oh, accessories. It becomes easier to understand for them. Another thing I did was add values. Usually I would recommend for values in millions, you can just use that 6M setting in Excel and Power BI. But I lost the entire data of this thing, and I just had to work in PowerPoint to create these visualizations. I also added grid lines. That way um, you can tell and give a rough estimate about where the values for the same year. I changed, and the color, obviously I started using the colors more strategically. Yeah, I just poured it, it is going to be beautiful. That's what that was my major consideration. So yeah, I'll be telling you why pie charts and probably not the best. Pie charts can be replaced with donuts charts. First of all, that reduces a whole load of clutter. You can basically just remove a chunk of it and you still have the same information you're trying to get. Also, if the proportion you are trying to measure is more than 2 or 3, I would recommend you do not even use a pie chart or donut chart. It might be better to use a bar chart, as the case may be. Now, one of the things you would highlight or you would see from this is I said average online marketing conversion rate. Even me, when I was creating the visualization, I had to think and enter like focus mode to write this thing down and be sure that I'm correct with what I'm saying. But then I did not consider my audience. And truly, my audience did not know what conversion rate or online marketing conversion rate is. It will be easier for your audience to see percent of online viewers that became customers. They would see this and be like, oh, so that is what you mean. And it becomes easier for them to just understand it. It's easier for everyone. So I added legends to this donut chart. I highlighted what needs to be seen and added a little bit of text here for it to be more visible. Yeah, I actually increased the text and blurred out what is not necessary. The 84.38% is not so necessary in this case because what we're looking for is the people that became customers, not the entire percentage. And I added a text here that says about 2 in every 10 viewers became customers. That way, you can say, so if we increase marketing spending, but if we double marketing spending, we can get 4 customers for every 20 customers. It becomes easier to understand. I thank God for progress in my life because what is this? Like, what is this? Recorded sales and expense. Okay, which is sales, which is expense? You cannot tell. But then if you look here, my title is serving the role of a legend. So I'm not adding extra clutter by putting in a legend. I'm using my title to be a legend. Am I not a legend? Well, let's not go into that. So yeah, now you can tell that sales is the blue one and expenses are red. And you can tell you can basically just tell the story from looking at this, and it's better than what you see here. I would actually recommend in this case that you add values here. But like I said, I lost this data and I created this in PowerPoint. So I was just working with changing chart type. I didn't work with the data itself in this scenario. I've already highlighted what I changed. The next one, revenue per year. What exactly is revenue in this finger looking visualization? In the revamped method, I highlighted that revenue is the entire y-axis and provided a what do they call it? A legend that tells you that the gray one are your expenses and your profit is the blue one. It is similar to this data. I mean, the assumed sales and expense, they are the same data represented in a different visual form, but then they tell 2 different stories. This one gives you trend, this one gives you profit. This one tells a different story basically. Average marketing. Let's just say I'll be using this to simply tell us how to storytell in in the little way I can. Marketing strategy generates 35% of total customers. That is where most people will stop. That is what they will tell their audience. Oh, 35% of total customers were generated from marketing strategies. And that's mind blowing. What are we supposed to use that information for? Why did that happen? Your audience does not know unless you tell them. So I basically just combined these two, and from what you see here, marketing strategy generates 35% of total customers, despite having a less than 1% budget allocation. I'm still using big English here. Basically, 35%, four in every customers are gotten from a very tiny piece of the national cake. Like you are using a ant to get an elephant. Increase your budget allocation for marketing and generate more customers. That's basically what this says. I'm using my audio to explain it further. In a different situation, I would expand on this, but let's not let's not let's not dwell on this. Average saving percentage X percent. People stop there. But then highlighting that it indicates a high investment portfolio helps your what they call it, helps your audience know what to do with it. Oh, we should be proud of this. This is not actually complete. You can go on to say this is a combination of X, Y, and Z, and as a result, it will be better for um, the audience to do a particular thing you want them to do. Also, you do not necessarily have to make a recommendations as a data analyst. You can make it open-ended, since in certain situations they would have more niche knowledge and experience to help make the best decision more than you would make. So sometimes it might just be an open-ended question like, what do you think we should do about savings percentage? Should we reduce it or increase it to do a particular thing? Employed staffs, employment of qualified staffs is necessary because of XYZ. Poor records make data keeping unreliable. So combining all of that, excluding the text, because why is text in your dashboard? There are situations for it, but basically combining everything and putting it in a dashboard presents you with this situation. It becomes clearer, easier to understand, less visually heavy for your audience, and they can get the information they need from your visualization. Sorry. So compared to what we have here, what we have here is, trust me, like 20 times better. And I'm being humble, it's more than 20 times better. So I'm true with that. Just a little disclaimer. Like I said, prioritize data, but don't forget the aesthetics. Some people have preferences. Some people would not want simple charts or simple visualizations. Some audience would love the visual weight that you are providing them. So whilst you are, what's the word now? Whilst you are prioritizing data, you should also know that there are other ways of, or there are other visual design styles that can help you pass your message, even though some of them, most of them are provide more clutter basically. And with that, I have taken us on the basic theories of data visualization, hopefully improved our storytelling capabilities, and gets to pie charts. With this, I've come to the end of this. Thank you very much.
All right, please. Where are your emojis? You people. I don't know what to say. I've just been nodding in agreement and then taking notes. Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Deolu. So we'll be going straight into the question and answer session. And I want us to quickly drop our questions. We'll be taking about 3 to 4 questions if time will permit us. And I must commend Mr. Jerry because he really kept the time. He even thought his session was supposed to end by 4. Meanwhile, it's supposed to end by 10 minutes past 4 because this call is a 1.5 hour session. So, but then we still have 5 minutes left from his time. Speak of keeping time. Please let's applaud him. He deserves that. And thank you so much for breaking everything down. Like you made it very simple to understand, easy to understand, and very clear. Thank you so much, Mr. Adeli. So if you have any question, can you drop in the comments and the chat box? And then while we are waiting for other people to drop their question, for those that joined late, please, Mr. Delu is a founder. He also has a community, and that's Data the community. And he writes technical stuff. I believe tech related stuff as well that you might find very interesting. So I'll be sharing the link to his Medium just before the call comes to an end, his Medium account, so that you can also check him out and then read some of the things he has written. And if possible, reaching for future collaboration or even mentorship. So where are your questions? Don't tell me you don't have questions. Because I know some people on this call, they are data analysts. So I believe you should have questions. This is a great opportunity for you to ask technical questions, because there's the assurance that it will be answered properly. Okay, so for me, I actually have a question. I don't know, maybe I possibly will be communicating someone's mind. It's like people don't like asking questions. Why won't you ask questions? Oh, the collaborations are quite important, yes. So I would like to ask, because I know you mentioned aesthetic, prioritize data over aesthetics, but at the same time you still mentioned that aesthetic is important, so even though you have to prioritize data. So how do they now create the balance? Like, and then you spoke about the fact that you can have different audience. What if the audience really want to see the aesthetics? They want it to be aesthetically pleasing as much as possible. Of course, I believe there is no audience or stakeholder that would take away data. That's the most important thing. They want the visualization to communicate what it needs to communicate. But how do people create that balance? How do they strike the balance between not focusing on aesthetics too much and also not toning down on what is meant to be communicated, the actual insights from the data? So I don't know if you understand you got my question.
Okay.
So Mr. Adeolu, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Is it my net? Please, if you can hear me, kindly react to that
Yes, I
emoji.
can. I can. Can you hear me? So, storytelling is an is centuries is Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
yes, I can hear you.
Storytelling is centuries old, basically, centuries old. So every possible thing that I'm going the long way. Balance is, how will I put it? It's not set in stones. It depends on the type of story you're trying to tell. In a situation where you are sending an email, how do you put so many aesthetics? Will you be putting memes when you are interacting with an executive? Or will you be put, you can put memes obviously if you're interacting with maybe a co-worker or colleague on the same lateral scale. But if you were interacting with, well, an executive, you wouldn't. So the balance comes from knowing your audience. It's it is you cannot fully know your audience. You cannot know, okay, this person is very chaotic. All the person wants is just madness in the visualization. But then the person still wants you to pass the message. That is essential. Passing the message is going to be necessary. So, in a situation where you do not know your audience fully, you rely on what you know. I've already highlighted design styles um, that work. I'm still with the minimalistic. It's probably because of my focus on other stuffs, but I should have learned other design styles. But I would recommend that you have like two or three in your arsenal. Why did I bring up that name? I'd recommend you have two or three in your arsenal, and then you can use them where you deem fit, basically. So the balance is not set in stones. You can determine the balance depending on the person you're interacting with.
Thank you so much for that. So we all have that, can determine the balance yourself. So depending on the available data you have, information you have about your audience, you can decide what scale or how far you want to go with your aesthetics, and then how you are going to prioritize more on your data. So I'm still not seeing questions, though. Don't tell me people don't have questions. So, Mr. Deoli, if people don't have questions, please, do you have question for us? I hope people don't drop off the call. At least we've been listening to you. You've been the one talking since. So please go ahead. Do you have any question for us?
Regardless of our
So at least
conversation
we see if
2
people
days
are
ago, by the
following
way,
and
I
all
came out
of
of that
that.
call. Yeah, so regardless
Most
of our conversation 2 days ago, um, I did not prepare any questions, but
go ahead.
well, questions are very easy for me because like every conversation requires questions. If I would not say it is like ah I talk too much. The point is, can I just like direct it at a random person? And if you're that random person, I'm sorry.
Yes, you can go through the approach. Whoever gets your question correctly that you're satisfied with is going to be getting a reward from the community. So we would reach out to them personally.
So in other words, it's just like a win situation for the person because I'm not asking a an assessment like question. My question will be more on experience. What
Okay.
is your experience with data visualization and storytelling? And what have you learned from this call? So I'm going to pick my random person now. You will just be dashing the person because we all have our experience one way or the other, unless we all have our experience. So Oluwaseyi,
Okay, wait.
yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, I was about saying since there is a reward involved, a gifts involved, maybe we should allow them raise their hand.
Going. I prefer the random sampling. Let me use the random sampling method, please.
No problem.
All right, thank you. So I mentioned someone's name already. Maybe your heart was already in your throat, so I don't think I will be picking your name anymore. Emmanuel Akinloye.
Mr.
You're
Emmanuel
very
Akinloye, please unmute.
Yes. Good evening, ma.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
yes,
Yeah.
I can.
Yes, we can.
So I should answer the question.
That's why I called
Like,
you. Yes.
okay, so I thought you called Uluwaseyi. Okay. Basically, what I've learned from this call is that when we're actually presenting our data, there are actually ways to present it, just like the way you are presenting a story. Like I like that the fact that you were actually explaining storytelling at first, you now combined it with data visualization. So it is that we're actually trying to tell them a story, but we're using it through visual means. So it's that we are painting. I want them to paint a picture on their minds, and when we're actually visualizing data for people. We have to make sure that we are mention some key points. We are removing clutters. I think that's how you called it. Removing clutters. That means that we are ensuring that what is on the screen is not unnecessary information. That we're keeping like, oh yeah, this is what you need to know. So just keep the main point on the screen, removing unnecessary information. I think you mentioned something about the color scheme, like the way it is that this thing you make the major figures, major points like different colors than others rather than just using the same color for everything. You use depth to pie charts. That means that you should avoid using pie chart. Then I think you replace it with donuts chart. And forgetting the last part, but I understand how data visualization works, that you actually have to understand those who you are presenting the data to. You have to make sure make it such that when you're presenting to them, you are making it such that they can now relate to it. You're presenting it in a way that they can now relate to that data visualization from what you have understood from it. That's why you now give us examples. Now, rather than just making it complex, you have to make it simple so that anyone anywhere can understand. So, like, I understand that from what I've presented, sir. So, yes, sir. Thank you,
Excellent.
sir.
But technically, that also answers like half of my question. I asked, what is your experience and what did you learn? So you've handled the learning part. What is your experience with data visualization and storytelling?
My experience as have I done it before?
You do you have a portfolio project?
No, sir.
All right, all right. Um, I guess it's technically not relevant to you. So, well, that's it for my question, Mrs. Omadi.
Okay. You don't want to call another person?
I'm very benevolent.
No, Mr. Emmanuel, actually, I think he just started his career as a data engineer. So he didn't start,
That's
most times, most of us start from the route of being a data analyst.
mhm.
So I don't think he has
Fighting.
any projects, anything he has done with visualization. So, but at least he did well, he showed the follow through the class and all of that. But don't worry, Mr. Emmanuel, you have a gift from us. But I just want Mr. Adeolu to maybe see one other person that have experience and can relate what he or she has learned with the experience, or how it has been for the person so far. So do you mind calling another person?
Okay. Um, how will I put this? People are stories. So I love learning from people's stories. If you have experience one way and you'd love to share about it, I would love to hear from you. So it's like you volunteering to do it. Then if nobody volunteers in 30 seconds, please, the person I initially called, what was her name again? Has she disappeared? Seems where she okay, Mr. Taiwo,
Oluwashiri.
if nobody answers the question, 10 seconds.
Okay. She's on. Okay.
So, Mr. Taiwo, you can take the stage. Oh, Mr. David Ojo, I'd love to hear from you.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for the privilege. So for me, like my experience having to if I were to work for my very first dashboard when it comes to me, I mean having to present data, I mean, and down to what I will currently do as a person is one key thing you basically mentioned is the place of we having to present our data with clarity to people. And one of the thing you mentioned is having to avoid cluttering such that me having to keep my dashboard as simple as possible actually helps me present my data in a manner that okay, I'm just having to focus on the very important things and the place of me having to color grade my visuals. Take for instance, I'm having to build represent a column chart or a bar chart such that I'm having to name maybe the top five best selling category for a particular product now, or I mean, for any particular data set I'm having to work on, like it's such that I'm having to color grade the system so that okay, maybe the first one is having the highest, the most shaded color, the highest shaded color, followed by the second one. So
So we can't hear you. Are you still speaking?
have the faintest color and the first one, unlike which is something I would want to do now, my visualization, and also maybe in having to present on a pie chart now. I still remember one of my very first instructor would say we avoid them using a 3D chart for a pie chart in this case, rather than sticking to that we avoid using 3D shapes on a dashboard rather than and we sticking to using the place of 2D shape, like maybe a donut chart, and we avoiding 3D shape. But the class today, the call today has been all insightful and all comprehensive to reinforce all these ideas once again, sir. Thanks once again for your time and tutelage, sir.
It's my pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. David. So I believe he did well talking about his experience, right, Mr. Delu?
Yes, yes, you did.
All right. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. So that means Mr. David and Mr. Emmanuel have a gift with us. Like we are going to be messaging personally in the community. And thank you everyone that made it down here. Especially appreciate Mr. Diolu. Please let me see in the chat. Let everyone type thank you, Mr. Diolu. Because we're really grateful, you making out the time, creating the time to show up here for us. I'm so grateful. Most people may not really understand, but the fact that you are doing this completely for free, like it's not like you're getting any monetary value, for this, and you still chose to show up and make out time. Because just me, I believe this session was very insightful. We all learned so many things. And by the way, the video recording of this session will be out on our YouTube channel, so everyone can check it out later in case you want to watch the recap. And then Mr. Adeolu's Medium profile link has been shared. You can check the chat box and copy it out, or just click on it and connect with him. You can connect with him on LinkedIn, please. If you're on this call, at least if you benefit from this call, do well to search for his name. Is Adeolu Adebambo on LinkedIn. Follow him, and get to, if you need to collaborate with him. Trust me, you are really going to have a great time, talking to him, or either seeking anything as regards or in the line of mentorship from him. So we are really grateful and privileged to have you on our call. Thanks for joining us. And then we hope to, continue this partnership with you and also with your community. Thank you so very much. And thank you everyone for making our time. For those that stayed from the start to the very end, we are so grateful, and we're glad that you all learned something from this session. So our next webinar session is going to be happening next month. Do well to take notes. And for those that joined that are also not data analysts, I'm really happy you did so, because most times what we discuss does not really have to be, consumed by people in that field. Everyone will benefit one thing or the other. And if you're on this community, you just saw the link somewhere, you're not part of our community, please, you need to join our community. A lot of things are being discussed there, a lot of things are being done. We are here to offer you the guidance you need in your tech journey. So, all right, let's do well to have a great day, everyone. We'll see you later. Bye, everyone. Bye, Mr. Adeolu.